Hello and welcome to January CRC meeting. We're here with Dr. Behzadi from AccuScience Labs in Florida. He's going to talk to us about sap analysis today. I know for me, coming from the ornamental industry, we were always taught to look at runoff, soil nutrients, elemental content in the leaves to really understand and diagnose nutrient problems. But with new tools comes new things to learn and new things to utilize. So he's going to go through sap analysis, how that works, and how you can take advantage of it at your facility.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Behzadi. I'm the President and CEO of the AccuScience Laboratories. As Dr. Justice mentioned, we were used to do plant tissue analysis, basically, till last year. And it was, a couple of cultivators brought it to my attention, the sap analysis. So we started digging. And we thought that is a very useful tool. So our laboratory, we added this capability last year. And we are now, I'm going to explain a little bit about, what is the sap analysis is to everybody. Okay, let's start. What is sap? Sap is the fluid that carries the mineral and metabolites through the vascular system of the plant. It is analogous to the blood in animal and human being. It's the same thing that is, obviously carrying all the nutrients. Extracting and testing this sap can enable the grower to make a real-time decision that lower their production cost and improve their crop quality. This is a fact. Cannabis, like any other living organism, needs nutrients to grow and thrive, and plant needs food to survive, especially nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So one might ask, what is the difference between the sap analysis and tissue analysis? A lot of people, they're going to have that question. Traditionally, growers have been using the leaf tissue analysis to monitor the nutrient uptake in the crop. A small sample of the leaves is collected and shipped to the laboratory for analysis. Once the laboratory get these things, these leaves, they clean them, they dry them, they grind them, and they digest them, then analyze them for different parameters, mostly nutrients. And hold on to this, I come back to it. And so the data that can help grower to decide to increase or decrease the fertilizers application or changes in the nutrient recipe. That was the old tissue analysis. They have major drawbacks. When you take the leaf tissue samples are used for studying nutrient level, what are you looking at? You're looking at the past. It's often too late to avert any consequences of the deficiency or any excess of nutrients. Moreover, nutrient demands are not static. They change through the growth stage of the plant. A snapshot from the past has limited use. So what I mean by that is that, by the time you get your data, you start looking at the data and you start making some decision, it is too late now. Already the plant is, maybe a week later, especially with the cannabis plant that, the growing is 6 to 8 weeks. So it might take you a week before you get into to change the nutrition. By contrast, sap analysis allows the growers to make real-time nutrient adjustment that ultimately lower the production cost and improve the crop quality. For somebody who has done the sap analysis and tissue analysis, I think that one of the major things that we have to pay attention to it is that when you're taking the analysis part, you're testing the whole plant tissue. The leaves, the plant tissue. But with the sap analysis, you're testing what is actually in the stems, in the leaves, what is traveling through the through the plant. This is actually you testing the nutrients part of it that is flowing through the plant. So one should not compare the limits or the amount of the what you see on the tissue sample and the SAP analysis. Obviously, it is all about economic values. What is the SAP economic value? SAP analysis has the potential to optimize the fertilizer application, reducing the cost, minimize the environmental impact, improve the sustainability. At the same time, it could actually increase the plant immunity. With increasing the plant immunity, you might be able to apply less pesticide. That's what we mean by minimizing environmental impact and improving the sustainability. When it comes to plant nutrition, cannabis grower cannot afford or guess the nutrition deficiency. Uh, this can result in a decrease in the yield and sick plant, rendering them more susceptible to pesticide and pathogen attack. We all know about the HDLV virus. That is a huge problem with the cannabis all over the country. So, having increasing the immunity of the plant could always help to fight some of these pathogens. At the same time, excess fertilizers can cause nutrition lockout and exacerbate the pesticide problem and increase the production cost. If the leaf tissue is tested due to the suspected nutrient problem, it means that symptoms that present in the crop and some degree of economic loss has already occurred. By the time the grower receives the report from the laboratory, as I mentioned, it is basically the damage is done, and you have very little time to correct it or bring it back. We still need to study and impact the nutrient optimization utilizing the SAP analysis have on the cannabinoids. I'm very interested to see some kind of research. If the SAP analysis, my question is that, is the SAP analysis could help with the potency of the cannabinoids. It could help with the production of more terpenes and flavonoids. And as we go and we all start seeing that the importance of the terpenes and the flavonoids, along with the cannabinoids and the synergy effect that the terpenes could have with the cannabinoid or flavonoid could have with the cannabinoids, these are very important. It is some of the things that it really has to be studied, and it has a lot of values in the cannabis industry. And as we get more and more into the cannabis industry, now, what are we testing when you do the SAP analysis? One of the first things that we test, and it has to be tested right away, is the bricks. Basically, measures the sugar level and other solubles in the plant. The next thing is the pH. An appropriate pH level in the plant is crucial to healthy growth. Most plants they need some kind to be slightly acidic, but not too much. The next parameters that we test is electrical conductivity. That's a snapshot of the salt content. Potassium, as you all know, is very crucial for nutrient to plant yield and crop health. Phosphorus, highly mobile, is a micronutrient. Both low and high amount could affect the health of the plant. And nitrogen, as nitrate and ammonia, both of which are very highly mobile. Nitrogen in SAP analysis is the most real-time view of what your plant have available to use in the next few days. Calcium is important in crop yield. Copper, small amount of copper, ensure the healthy protein and enzyme production. Iron, important metal for the plant. Deficiency will cause chlorosis and necrosis and bleaching of the newer leaves. I have more actually. Magnesium deficiencies can also cause chlorosis. Manganese, excess manganese can affect the plant's uptake of iron, calcium, and magnesium, and deficiency can cause chlorosis, symptoms similar to the magnesium and iron. Molybdenum is very crucial to plant ability to break down the nitrate to soluble nitrogen. And sulfur, even though deficiency are uncommon, but are very dangerous. At the same time, sulfur in abundance can prevent proper nitrogen uptake and decrease soil pH below the safe acidity that you need. Zinc is needed for a small amount and could stimulate the root growth. And the silica is the beneficial to plant growth, plant vigor, nutrition uptake, increased resistance to pesticide and mold. So actually, silica is one of the things that, it wasn't, when we were doing the, tissue analysis, we never tested for some of these parameters actually. They were not on the traditional tissue analysis list. Well, we have two types of, how many types of SAP analysis we have? We have two types of SAP analysis. One is the soil uptake SAP analysis. Basically, this compares the amount of nutrients available in the soil and what the plant has. By analyzing the soil uptake, a grower can determine whether the uptake is sufficient when compared to optimal level and whether a deficiency is a result of the adequate supply in the soil or due to the imbalance of the resulting from the overabundance of the competing nutrients. So that is very important actually to get the soil uptake analysis done. Then they have a translocation SAP analysis. This is something new actually that we didn't see that in the plant tissue. That measures the difference between new and old growth to determine how the plant is utilizing the mobile nutrients. The goal is for the grower to get the live data of nutrients flow through the plant and measure the steepness of the gradient from old growth to the new leaves. Can be used to gauge the demand given to how much of the nutrient, what specific time, growth cycle of the plants. So this is very important to take the old and new, and this could give you a very good comparison between the old and new. Now, how do you sample the SAP analysis? We have put actually a guide for the SAP analysis sampling in our website. If you go to our AccuScience website, and you are going to be, you'll be able to get that, or just contact us. We'd be happy to provide you with the guide, basically. So the way you do it is you collect leaf clipping, not just individual leaf, but making the cut near the origin of the petiole from the stem. Stack the leaf and stack them, leave them flat on the plastic bag. As you can see here, originally with the plant tissue, we were taking just the leaves, but now we are interested what is in the petiole actually going to plant. That's where the nutrition is going through it. So what you're going to be doing, you're going to be clipping, and it is recommended that don't take more than 3 or 4 from each plant, and we need about 80 grams of the leaves required. We have seen people used to the plant tissue, they provide 5 or 10 gram, but that's not enough sample for us to test for all these parameters. As you know, for the nutrients, for the nitrogen, each one of them has a different testing method. For translocation SAP analysis, take one sample from the new leaves and one sample from the old leaves on the same plant, basically, and bag them as a new and the old growth, and each one separately. Don't mix them up. Have them each one separately. You stack them on top of each other, and you put them in the bagging. And for the soil uptake SAP analysis, omit the new one. You don't need the new leaves. What you're going to be doing is you're going to take a portion of the soil samples, approximately about 15 grams. That should be plenty for us to analyze it, and then they take about 80 grams of the old leaves, basically, and they do the same thing, and you stack them on top of each other, and you bag them. And once you have sufficient leaves and you have bagged them, obviously you put them promptly, immediately you put them into the cooler or any kind of insulated container. You put the ice pack on it and prepare it for shipment, or the lab courier come pick it up or drop it off in the laboratory that being analyzed. It is again very important to manifest that, put it on the chain of custody, identify old and the new leaves. One of the things I should mention is that it is recommended, if you're taking the SAB analysis, basically it's not one time only. You take a SAB analysis and it says, okay, I know that, because plant, as we said, it goes through the different levels of the growth, basically, and the need for the growth changes through matter of the time. And the other thing is that the SAB analysis, so if you're deciding, let's say, doing a SAB analysis on Monday and you want to do one on Wednesday to see the effect of it, it is very important to take the SAB analysis at the same time. If you're taking the sample for the SAB analysis on Monday at 9 a.m., don't take your sample on Wednesday at 4 p.m. because the changes, you want to take it basically at the same time. I'm not saying 9 o'clock, but between 9 to 10 o'clock, you take it on Wednesday. So you could compare basically the plant, how is uptaking the nutrients. Here, I'm sure you have seen some of these things, some of these deficiencies I'm showing on these pictures. On the left side, you see a very healthy, no deficiency control cannabis plant. Then you see a nitrogen deficient plant. You see here a phosphorus deficient plant. Here's one with the potassium, actually. Down here is the sulfur, as we mentioned, that could prevent uptaking some of the nutrients. Magnesium is very important. Both magnesium and nitrogen, as you see, they are very important. Any kind of deficiency of these two could really impact the cannabis plant. And at the same time, calcium. So, as you know, cannabis plant is a commodity with the high nutrient demand, and during to abundant of growth under optimized environmental condition. What we mean is that it is, for you to, when you are growing for cultivators on the cannabis, they have invested a lot of money on the planting these things. And it costs a lot of money, not only with the space, but the lighting, the labor, and all that. So you cannot afford to basically have a lack of nutrition in the plant. So nutrition deficiency can reduce yield and the quality. As I mentioned before, it is very interesting to see how we optimize in the nutrition, how we could affect the potency and the level of the terpenes and the flavonoids in the sample. Nutrition imbalance, especially during the flowering stage, have the potential to substantially alter the growth and reduce the flowering yield and the quality of the, which is, we are talking about potency. But again, there are more things than potency in cannabis plant. And SAB analysis can help with the remediation of this deficiency. However, it requires continuous monitoring, and each cultivator should come up with their own nutrition plan. So what I mean here is that really, we are walking in the uncharted territory. It is good to compare the results of the nutrients from the old to the new, But we have seen there are some limits are put in some labs. We have seen that. We have tried to come up where these limits are coming from. I couldn't find any kind of literature. And from one cultivar to another cultivar, that might have different amount of nutrition might be necessary. So that's what you have really have to build your own nutrition plan, basically, and see what is required. Where do you want the optimal amount of the nutrition going through the plant? And with that said, I want to thank you for the opportunity to, that you gave us to do the SAM analysis. And I hope you find this beneficial. My information is there. Feel free to contact me if you have any question. Again, we all walking in the new territory here. This is all new to all of us. We are excited, to see more data. I really like to see more data and see what the effect the optimizing this nutrition in the plant can have. I have high hopes for it. I think really we could increase, have an effect on the potency. It could have effect on the level of the terpenes. It could have the effect on the level of the flavonoids. Again, all these nutrients are the building block of all these chemicals. With that said, I'm open to any question you have, if I could answer it.
Thank you. Thank you. This is very interesting. I've got more questions than we probably have time, but I'll hit you with my top ones. So I see SAP written with all caps. Is this an acronym for something? Or is it really mean SAP of the plant?
No, no,
No,
no.
no, I'm looking at my assistants. And,
They actually, in a later revision of this PowerPoint, we corrected that.
yeah.
Well, it's not just you guys. I've seen lots of people put it in all caps. So yeah.
It could be, but I think the technical definition there is not an acronym. It's just a biology term.
Gotcha. Okay. Just checking.
That's why backups here.
Layman's thing.
So a lot of our members love to dig deep. And so if it's not any sort of IP protection, once you get the leaves, what happens? Is it a juicing type process, or how does that work?
Yeah, we're still working on the juicing part of it. What we have used, we have seen actually some YouTube videos. They use the garlic press actually to try to juice it. We have used juicers. We were able to get juice out of it. And now we're coming up with the new things actually. That is actually, we put in the leaves between two rocks.
In a vice press, and we
And
slowly
trying to get the liquid out, basically. Again, we don't want to test the leaves because this is not what's going into the plant actually. We want to get the juice as much as you are, because that is where the nutrition is.
Gotcha.
Unlike plant tissue, we were doing the whole leaves basically.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. When you said you test for pH, I actually am not sure, and this is just curiosity. What is a normal range for pH?
What we think is something between what I hear is between 3 to 5, or 4 to 5, something like that. You don't want it neutral, you don't want it alkaline, obviously, and you don't want it too low, a pH of 2, which is too low, basically.
Got it. Have you ever tested for cannabinoids in the sap?
No, we haven't.
To be honest with you,
But we
it's very
can.
hard. It's very hard to get enough samples sometimes. So I might have to ask for 160 gram of sample to analyze it for cannabinoids. And cannabinoids, they are not soluble in they're not soluble. So I don't expect to see them in the sap.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But hey,
But you never know.
We have tested the stem. We had a client send us samples of just the stem. They wanted to ship it to Japan or something.
Yeah.
Where the requirements are very strict.
And we find very, very low amount of the detonine THC actually. Very, very low.
Sure, sure. That's why I was interested, because I've tested small plant, kept in the vegetative state, and sent it off for cannabinoid testing, and I've had some leaves and stems be up as high as 2% cannabinoids. And being that there's no trichomes, I don't know, it got my mind turning of where exactly are they showing up from. So yeah, just interesting thought. How often would you recommend to a grower to test? What's normal practice? Weekly or?
I would say twice a week. I would say twice a week. Beginning of the week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And so
Sure.
this way you could adjust it for the weekend. The amount of the nutrition. Again, I like to see more data. I mean, we are starting to getting more and more samples, and this is again, it would make it for you guys to come up with a nice paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more data we get, the more we'll understand what normal is, or
exactly.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as the blood. You go to test your blood, and they have all these things for the cholesterol and sugar and all that. Those limits, they didn't come, overnight, but it was
Right.
a lot of data was accumulated to come up with those limits.
Exactly. How does it compare in pricing if you were comparing it directly with a leaf elemental analysis?
The pricing is very comparable, actually. Especially you're taking, two samples. You're taking the old and the new, and we are able to, maybe slightly, maybe 10 or 15% higher. But the pricing is very comparable. And as you do more samples, the pricing comes down.
Sure. And you say it has to be shipped on ice. Would you say overnighted?
Yeah, it should shipped in the ice. I don't know. From the last time we checked, there were only 4 or 5 laboratories in the country. They're doing it right now, the SAP analysis. So yeah. So most likely, obviously we are lucky. We are here in Lake County, Florida. We have a lot of cannabis cultivator around us, so we could go and pick it up and do the analysis. But usually you need to be shipped overnight on ice, and as soon as, because you don't want the plants to get dry. The drier they get, the harder it is to get any of the juice out basically. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is very cool. I can't wait to get started myself and really start to wrap my head around comparing it and understanding how to interpret the numbers and all of that. And we appreciate you guys being on the cutting edge of getting this going for the industry and starting to put together the data where we can understand where we need to be as growers with SAP analysis. The more tools we have, the better. So thank you for that. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm sure our viewers will reach out and have a million questions to ask you. So I hope that if nothing else, this is spreading the word, and we'll certainly be coming to you for help and guidance.
Thank you very much, Dr. Justice. Appreciate it.